Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're gonna talk about something a lot of us have either been through or know someone who's been through: healing from a narcissistic relationship. If you've been in one, you know just how exhausting, confusing, and damaging it can be. But the good news is you are in control of your healing. And remember, you're never behind. I got my shirt on for you again to remind you that your healing journey is exactly where it's supposed to be right now. You're on your way and you're not behind. In this video, I'm gonna talk through the 5 ways to heal from a narcissistic relationship. These are the steps that can help you move forward to regain your sense of self and find peace again. I know that seems like so far-fetched right now, so grab a coffee, grab some tea, pop the popcorn, settle in, and let's get started. Oh, and before we dive in, I want you to know that I am always here for you to help you on your healing journey, self-growth, and navigating life after narcissistic abuse. You don't have to do this alone. All right, let's jump in. Now, number 1, I want you to give yourself time and permission to heal. Sometimes we think of healing as like this linear path that's straight up, but that is just not how it goes. There's lots of ups and downs and backtracking and having a little glimmer of hope, and then everything feeling like you've just gone back to how it was before. The first thing you need to give yourself is time and permission to heal. Remember, you're never behind. I know this sounds so basic, but it's often overlooked because especially when we're grieving after a narcissistic relationship, because we've experienced this tremendous loss. We loved them, whether it was a friend, a coworker, a sibling, a parent, a family member, whatever. And that grief is gonna have everything from anger to sadness to seeing hope to back to anger, back to sadness, back to pain. After being in a narcissistic relationship, you might feel this pressure to just get over it quickly, especially if others around you don't understand what you went through. People will say things to you like, just move on, or it wasn't that bad, or I don't know why you can't get over it, like stop talking about it. But here's the thing, you don't owe anyone a timeline for your healing. Narcissistic abuse is deeply damaging. There's even evidence and research showing that it can cause brain damage, and it can take time to unpack all of the emotional, mental, and even physical effects that it had on you. So step 1 is giving yourself permission to heal at your own pace. I want you to write down on the notes on your phone or on the back of your phone or on a sticky note somewhere in your house and just write, you're never behind. Don't rush it. Some days are gonna feel like you're making progress and you're gonna finally feel better, and then the next day you're gonna feel smashed and you're gonna feel like you're right back at square one. That's totally normal. Healing isn't linear. It's more like a roller coaster with like lots of flips and turns, and I hate roller coasters. I don't like them. I go to Disneyland for the churros and the popcorn and the turkey legs. I'm not there for the roller coasters, and yet I've had some wild, crazy roller coasters of trying to heal from a narcissist. So go easy on yourself. Give yourself some grace. Next, I want you to detach from their narrative. One of the most harmful things about being in a relationship with a narcissist is that they create this story about who you are. If this is a parent, this self-concept has likely been so ingrained in you that you just tell the narcissistic parent's story about you over and over and over again to everyone you meet, everywhere you go. And it just becomes this trap and this cage that you're in until you have awareness and go, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not controlling person. Maybe I'm not overbearing. But that was the way the narcissist described you to you your whole life. And so that's who you think you are. But that doesn't have to be true. You get to be whoever you want to be. And you get to decide if you're overbearing or if you're controlling or if you're overly emotional. How do you know that's a bad thing? If I were any good at not being overly emotional and overly dramatic, I wouldn't be any good at YouTube videos. So it all works out. Maybe the things that they used to criticize you about are the very things that are the most beautiful parts about you. They might have told you that you were too sensitive, too needy, too dramatic. All these things aren't true, but they drilled it into you until you started to believe it. The key to healing is recognizing that none of those things are actually true about you, although they likely feel very real. They're about the narcissist's need to control and project their insecurities onto you. That's all it is. They're literally projecting their insecurities onto you. So part of your healing process has to be untangling yourself from that version that they made of you. You get to decide who you are. You get to rewrite the narrative. Best news ever! So take the time to reconnect with who you were before the narcissist. And if it was your parent and you were abused your whole life, guess what? Now you get to explore. It's like a whole new world. You get to decide what you like, try different foods, travel to different places, decide, play in the playground, have so much fun. Take time to reconnect with who you were and maybe even discover new parts of yourself that you didn't know were there. The more you detach from their narrative, the more you're gonna feel like you're reclaiming your identity. It's like having a midlife crisis, I've heard. I don't know. All right, number 3 is a big one. Building healthy boundaries. I talk about this all the time here on the channel. When you're with a narcissist, boundaries are pretty much non-existent. They hate them, they don't like them. Let's be honest, no human really loves a boundary. But narcissists trample all over them, making you feel like you have no control over your own life or emotions. And even after the relationship ends, you might find it hard to set boundaries with others because you've been conditioned to feel like your needs don't matter. But guess what? Your needs do matter. Your boundaries matter. So start by practicing setting small boundaries with the people around you, friends, family, even coworkers. It could be as simple as saying no to something you don't want to do, or asking someone to respect your personal space. If there's a baby shower and you just don't want to wake up on a Saturday morning and get ready and go, just say no, because I don't want to. Want what you want without justifying it. That's how you rebuild that sense of self, is honoring your little voice inside of you that has been silenced for so long by the narcissist. The more you practice setting boundaries, the stronger you're gonna feel, I promise. Boundaries are your way of protecting your peace, and they're absolutely essential for your healing. They're not about pushing people away, although you might want to cocoon. You might find yourself coming home from work, getting into bed, needing your heat blanket, watching Netflix at night, or maybe reading a good book, just being alone. That's a normal part of healing, so you're doing everything right on schedule. But it's about creating a safe space where you can thrive. And that's what I love so much about that cocoon phase, where you just cocooning, right? You're literally, it's like this cocoon around you and the butterfly is about to emerge. The next one, step 4, this is the most important, and it's reconnecting with yourself. Narcissistic relationships have a way of actually disconnecting you from who you really are. For example, it might be a trauma response that you're so extroverted, or maybe you're highly extroverted and you describe yourself as, I used to be extroverted, but now I'm introverted. That can be a trauma response to change that part of your personality. You spend so much time walking on eggshells trying to please the narcissist that you lose sight of your own wants, your own needs, your own dreams. And by the way, the friends that you meet during this time likely might change, not only because the narcissist might use them as pawns to try to manipulate you, or they might go on a smear campaign where they just speak poorly about you to everyone so that everyone turns against you and they isolate you with the hopes of trying to control you to come back. But when this happens, it can be so common for you to want to run right back to them, or to feel like you are crazy and losing your mind. Once you leave that relationship, get out of that toxic environment, it's time to rediscover what makes you you. What are your passions? What brings you joy? Do you like to just mosey around? Do you like to sleep in? Were you always forced to stay up late because the narcissist in your life had no boundaries around sleep. Maybe you like to go to bed early. What are your values? Independent of anyone else. Those people that knew you when you were with the narcissist, it may feel like you don't want to be friends with them afterwards, not only because they're manipulating you like I was talking about before, but also because they likely don't even know who you are. There's this song that I love. It's called Golden by Ruth B. Just capital B, Ruth B, Golden. And in it talks about out of the ashes they buried me in, I'm golden, I'm golden. It talks about how you were broken down into destruction and how everything that was meant for you to be destroyed actually is what rebirthed you into who you are now, golden. Go listen to it, please. I'm sure you can find it on any place. Apple Music, Spotify, it's everywhere. It will become your new favorite song. Take time to do things that nurture your soul. Maybe it's picking up an old hobby that you used to love, like reading historical fiction books or running. Spending time in nature. I love grounding practices. This is where you go outside without shoes or socks on. You put your feet directly on grass, dirt, sand. Just those things. Grass, dirt, sand. Concrete does not count. It doesn't count if your shoes are on. So get outside, ground your feet directly on Mother Earth. And for me, sometimes I feel like I have to put my feet on dirt, and that's how I know I'm probably a little deficient in minerals, because there's so much minerals in the soil that it will help you really like absorb that through your skin. It's likely that you're really sodium deficient because you're burning through sodium when your adrenals are maxed out, and when you're with a narcissist, you're constantly pumping out adrenaline and cortisol 24/7. So there's this adrenal complex by Jigsaw that was a game changer for me. And if that's something that you feel like you need help with, of course, I'm not recommending that I can give you medical care or advice or anything, but look, it's always good to go have your blood work drawn, see a physician. I recommend functional medicine doctors so that they can help you heal and get those minerals and those things that are probably depleted because of all the abuse you've been through. The goal here is to rebuild that relationship with yourself by allowing yourself to rest and recharge. The one that got neglected, that person inside of you, when you focused on surviving in a narcissistic relationship. Remember, you deserve love and attention from yourself just as much as you give it to others. Last but definitely not least, surround yourself with supportive people. One of the biggest challenges after leaving a narcissistic relationship is rebuilding your support system. Narcissists often isolate you from friends and family. So by the time the relationship ends, you might feel like you're on your own. You might even have completely shut everyone out that you cared about the most. But here's the thing, you don't have to go through this alone. Whether it's trusted friends, family members, or even a therapist, surround yourself with people who get it, people who uplift you, listen to you, and remind you of your worth. If you feel like you don't have that support in your immediate circle, don't be afraid to seek out professional help or even support groups. There are so many communities online and offline that can help you navigate this journey. Healing from narcissistic abuse is super hard, but having a supportive tribe around you makes all the difference. And a lot of times, even though we feel like we may have damaged certain relationships during the abusive relationship with the narcissist, I just want to challenge you to pick up the phone and reach out to that person that you think you burned a bridge with and say, hey, I think that I have been in a really bad place for a really long time, and I think that this relationship is really bad. I'm sure you probably saw it before me, but I really need some support right now, and I'm wondering if you could talk. And what I have found is that most of the time, other people around us often see the abuse before we do. And they're just so ready to help us, even when we think that everyone's abandoned us and that there's no saving it. That's just a lie that Satan wants you to hear. It's not even true. God doesn't want you to be miserable. I promise you. So to recap, the 5 ways to heal from narcissists are: number 1, give yourself time and permission to heal. Remember, write it down. You're never behind. You're right on schedule, I promise you. Number 2, detach from the narcissist narrative. All the little voices in your head, the things that stay with you, the things that they've called you, the names that they've called you, the things that they said, the things that they've said you are thinking, and that they lead you to believe that they know you better than yourself, which is actually not true. You know you better than yourself. That leads me to number 3, build healthy boundaries. Number 4, reconnect with yourself, explore, find out what you really love, your likes, your dislikes. Go back to things you used to enjoy before you met them. Or try things you were never allowed to try if they've been in your life your whole entire life. And number 5, surround yourself with supportive people, even people that you might feel you've distanced yourself too much. Like, reach out to them. It might be someone who's just been waiting for you to see the light and come around. Remember, healing is a process. It's not gonna happen overnight, but with these steps, you're on the right path. And the most important thing to remember, you deserve to heal. You deserve to feel whole, happy, and free again. If this video helped you, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. And hey, if you've been through this, share your experience in the comments. Let's support each other on this healing journey. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.